Mad, sick, Reggaeville.
Reggaeville family, we're at SummerJam 2015 and I have the great pleasure to be with Harris and Stafford of Groundation.
Yes,
welcome to SummerJam. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling very well. Happy to be here once again.
Yes, you described the German festivals or the European festival once as very well organized.
Yeah,
so
right?
is that something you're happy about, or what else are you happy about to be here
Yeah,
today?
we're happy about that, of course. Sometimes in South America, Brazil, or these places in the States, not so well organized. So it's nice to be in a place that's clear, where all the backstages are, when people are performing and all that. It keeps everything nice and flowing easily. But for us to be here in Germany, to see the crowd, I know this year is sold out. It's a great energy. So we bring about a conscious music with a social message, trying to uplift people. So to see it sold out, to see so many people coming together who are like-minded, searching towards a positive future, for us as Groundation, yeah, it's a wonderful experience to be here.
Of course, it must be wonderful, right?
Yeah.
But ahead of you is a very tight and long schedule, shows almost every day. When you look at the schedule before the tour starts, is that something that you are excited about because it's a challenge to also maintain the fitness throughout the tour, or is it more something where like, oh my God, I really have to keep up?
Sometimes it can be oh my God, but no, for this tour and for most tours, I'm excited to be traveling, to be meeting people each night, to try and learn something from the culture and the people that we're at. And I'm very conscious to keep myself fit physically, whether on the tour or off the tour at home. So when I see a big tour schedule, lots of dates, I'm ready.
How do you exercise physically?
I'm a runner, so I run around, and where I live in California is very, very hot, just like today. I think right now in where I live in the Bay Area is about 105 degrees.
Wow, so that's approximately like we have.
Yeah, right here. And I love running, 5-6 miles in the heat.
Okay,
It's my energy. So I run, I keep physically active, strength and push-ups, sit-ups, and I keep very active off the road. So it doesn't matter if somebody has 6 shows in a row, very little sleep, I know my body can take it.
So is it rather more challenging to say the physical fitness, or because it's also a mental thing?
It can be both. The physical thing, once you have your road book, it's something you can manage. But the mental thing, you never know. You never know when you're going to walk on the stage and your guitar is not going to work, or the monitor is going to shut off, or something's going to happen. And for us as musicians, you're trying to live in the moment. You're trying to be there with the people, telling a story and sharing the songs as they are being played. So those types of things can throw you off and take you out of the moment. And you're always struggling, like last night in Portugal. The in-ear monitors were coming in, out, in, the whole show. So it's very hard to get in that space, where you're living the music, because each time it turns off, you can't hear anything, and it's very uncomfortable. Yeah. So, the mental thing is more of an X factor. You don't really know how to prepare for that, because every day brings new challenges.
Right, exactly, new challenges. And speaking of challenges, you took on another challenge apart from music, started that a few years back already, and the product is kind of manifesting itself now to a DVD, because we're speaking about the Holding On To Ja movie, right?
Right.
It's coming onto DVD in November.
November 2nd. Yeah, November 2nd, Coronation Day, 2015 will be the release of Holding On To Ja. 15 years in the making. 15 years.
15 years. Because what I heard is that the idea of you and Roger Hall manifested or came about in about 1999. Yeah. How can I imagine? You were just sitting down, let's take a movie.
I was teaching the history of reggae music at Sonoma State University, the same university where we got our jazz degrees and met as Groundation. I later taught the history of reggae music there. And I would have Israel Vibration, Culture, Abba Melchizedek come to the course when they were around and talk to the students and whatnot. So I would call Roger and say, Roger, Joseph Hill is going to come. I'm going to pick him up, come to the class. Please come and film his lecture. So it started there. And when you sit with these elders, they have so much passion, and they're all such stars that we wanted to put together a story that with no narration, it was them telling the story, telling the history of Jamaica, telling the history of people like Markus Garvey, Haile Selassie, how the Bible and Revelation showed them the light towards the crowning of Selassie, and through the music of reggae, they spread it around the world. So in the film, we sat down with all the members of Count Ozzy's Mystic Revelation of Rastafari, the Abyssinians, Congos, Culture, Israel Vibration, Uroy, Pablo Moses, Ijaman, people like Sugar Minot who are not here anymore. So there's probably, 30 or so elders that we sat with from Ross Michael, and there's many, many people. So from 1999 until 2007, 2008 was the last time I had the film crew come to Jamaica and film. So it's all filmed in Jamaica besides some of the course stuff in California. But it was something that, with the course, the history of reggae music, I wanted to put something that was very simple, that was showing people what it is that draws everyone towards this Rasta, towards this type of mentality of love and unity, and that it's not just some smoking ganja, laughing at this dreadlock Rasta thing. It's a very deep and heartfelt and mystical spiritual movement that is really meant to uplift all the people of the world. So it's a perfect time for Holding On to Jah to come out. And it took a long time not only to finish the project, but it's not Groundation music that is telling the story. So we had to get all the licensing for Bob Marley's music, Peter Tosh, so 32 songs used, and you have to do the master recording and the publishing sync rights. So each song is a lot of times two different companies or two different people who own the rights. So it's a long time coming. So we did some crowd fundraising to get the money to do all of that and secure the rights. And we're just finishing up right now. And we have the Bob Marley and Burning Spear, Marcus Garvey, and you need to have Abyssinian Sada Masagana. You need to have these songs. So you can't have Groundation play a song because it's not our story; it's their story. So very happy, very happy.
Yeah, and I mean, over the years, some of the persons that are speaking in the movies, persons like Joseph Hill,
Sure.
Sugar Minot, they sadly have passed.
Yep.
And is it also kind of a testimony of the reggae in those times, just following up on what people have to say, and then now we can look back and say,
Sure.
wow, this is like part of the history that.
Yeah, this is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to give them back something that they could share with their grandchildren, to say, this is what your grandfather did, which was a very important thing for black people and an important thing for all people of the world. Because whoever you want to see your God, whether black or white or no color at all or no sex at all, that's how you see your God, not to be taken away from anybody. And these people, as I said before, are really brilliant and gifted people coming out of a very poor third world country, and gave the world something that is, you can find Rasta every corner of the earth, and that's because of these people and the music of reggae and their mission to really spread that. So yeah, it's a testimony to that, and to know that all of those works are not lost. Joseph Hill is still with us. And in fact, the film is livicated to Joseph Hill. At the end of the film, we livicated to him because he was such a moving inspiration for me. Growing up in reggae and going to Jamaica, he was very welcoming with me. And he was somebody who could change the atmosphere the moment he walked into a room. You just felt something different with Joseph. And I love him for that, and I try and carry that spirit with me. So yeah, Holding On to Jah, I'm extremely proud to be able to share these great people's message to the world.
So did you actually, for the process of the film, did you follow a concept where to say, okay, I would love to have X, Y, and Z, and then we talk about these and these issues? Or was it maybe just sitting down with them and then just let the mind flow and listen?
Well, first it started off as just a free let the mind flow. I initially flew the film crew down, Roger and them, in 1999 to Jamaica, and we met in where I come from, St. Anne's Bay area. So they came to that side, and from there we just started sitting with elders. We would go to Kingston, of course, and try and I'd be driving around Kingston while trying to set up all the interviews and doing all this stuff. And it was initially just, where did you grow up? What's the history? And as we got further away, it was really when Joseph Hill passed away. And we had all these 100 of hours of sitting with these elders talking about life and talking about their experience. This is a time when being a dreadlock, you would get beaten by police. It wasn't some cultural, hip, cool thing to be, So these were outlaws doing it for a reason. And it was a special time, as you were saying, in Jamaica. So when Joseph Hill passed, we said we really got to do something with all this footage, And we said, okay, let's come together and write a basic script. So this is where we then came with the idea of them telling. So then we would sit from that point on and ask the same questions to all of the musicians and singers. So we would ask about, when slavery was abolished in Jamaica, and what was emancipation like, and what their feelings were at independence time, and about the Maroons, and about the history of the island and the Arawak Indians. And we had those questions for everybody. So we would compile all the best ones that were really clear, and historically accurate in things. Speaking about Marcus Garvey, we had broken the film up into 5 different sections. Yeah. The first section is about the island of Jamaica and the history of that from slavery time all the way through to emancipation, independence. And then the next one is about the prophet, Marcus Garvey, his life in Jamaica, of course, all of his movements in New York, the UNIA and what he did. And then his prophecy, you have the king, Haile Selassie, and it goes into Selassie's time, from when he's crowned to the Italian invasion, to his speech to the League of Nations, and his traveling around the world trying to forge a greater unity for not just African countries but all people. That was Selassie's mission for his whole life. And then from there, Revelation was talking about the Bible, because in Jamaica these are all Christian people, and as Rasta is getting more independent and looking for more of their African identity, it was in the Bible, in the same Christian, the same thing that the colonial powers forced on them, opened up their minds as they saw, okay, Revelation 19, Revelation 5, I saw a king who sat up on the throne upon a white horse, and he loosened the 7 seals thereof, and that was the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah. And they look and say, okay, the conquering lion of the tribe of Judah is the crown of Ethiopia, to which Selassie is the last line of that. So they say, hey, this must be it. Yeah, there's no other conquering line of the tribe of Judah, none before and none will come. So it must be Selassie. So out of that Christian upbringing came this Rasta new beginning.
Yes, right.
Yeah.
Speaking of making the movie once more, though, you said you have the 5 chapters and stuff, and you said how much material you actually had. I can imagine, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, that it was really hard to say, okay, what are we really actually going to put in the movie and edit for the eventual product.
The initial movie itself was 4 hours long, so it had been edited down to 2 hours, which it is now. But and you don't want to give too much information, because it is an educational film. It's a historical film, dates and names and places, and for a lot of people who aren't in the reggae world, they don't want to, wait a second, be confused with the Bobo and the Nyabingi tribe and the 12 tribes, and let's just talk about the basic fundamental cornerstones of the movement, to which everyone can, I see how it all makes sense, And the 5th section that I didn't speak of was about the music. Was finally after the Revelation, they got the reggae music, independent ska music, and the Rasta people started to say, okay, we can use this music to put out this message. Yeah. Yeah.
Apart from saying, okay, I have so much footage, were there other challenges? Because I remember you once telling a story when you recorded in Jamaica for your music, and it took you, I think, maybe like 6 hours to wait for the tape recorder, the reel-to-reel tape to come. Yeah. So I could imagine also when you make the movie, you have certain standards you want to live up to.
Yeah. The movie was different because I had flown in the guys, they had the cameras, it was the crew for all the stuff, so... when I had Roger Hall and Dan Esser with me, I knew what we had each time. Okay. So it was that same cameras and audio to be able to get all the interviews and keep it cohesive. Okay. But the recording was a whole different story, because the 2-inch machine is like an old school technology, and if you don't keep it up, it's lost. Exactly. Yeah.
But eventually all of that worked out, so we have the movie in hand now. The movie will be out on DVD, as we said, November 2nd. Yes. And I think you can also stream it.
Yeah,
tell me, what is, how can the people...
It'll be on iTunes as well, to be able to purchase the movie through that way. And we're looking at Netflix and those things to be able to download and stream. But initially, it's going to be the DVD in stores throughout the U.S., mainly because that's their distribution, but it'll be also in Europe through some stores. Of course, at Groundation.com is where you'll be able to get the physical DVD. For me, it's just after all these years, I know it's not going to be some money-making thing. After all these, I just want to put it out, because as you're saying, these elders are getting older and passing on, and the intent was to give them something that they could show their families. Because, you know, a lot of them are still living in Jamaica in very poor, you know, Mortimer Plano, before he passed away, was living in poorest Jamaica in a shack house, you know, sick and not doing well. So you want them to be able to show people really, you know, the glory of their life. Because life is serious, you know. This is not a joke. This is a real thing we're doing here. So, yeah, I feel like it has to come now. It has to come now. And the biggest challenge was the licensing, was the music. Because in some of the songs, you know, Joe Higgs, Wake Up and Live, who owns the rights? I don't know. Who owns? Even talking to the family, you know, his children, I don't know who has it, you know. Call the record label, no, we don't have it anymore. Who? Okay, well, who do I even make an agreement with, you know? So that was a huge challenge. But we're finishing now and, yeah, looking towards the future.
So when you first really screened the movie for someone that was dear to your heart, what was the moment that you were most excited about? Like where you knew, okay, this sequence, this is really the heartbeat.
I love the intro to the film because it's like 5 or so minutes long and you get to see lots of the elders who are involved. As I said, there's no narration. It's all told by the singers. So you see them all right away together, from Countryman and Josephville and Russ Michael, Sugar and all them. And it, to me, you need, I feel like there needs to be more unity in reggae. Because a lot of the times you see all the individual artists and they're great, you know, but when everyone's together telling a story, it's like, wow, this is, everybody's here, you know, sitting here telling the story together as one. And the beginning ends with Josephville and he says, boy, it's a long story. And he has a big laugh. And then the holding onto jaw icon, the Star of David and thing comes on the screen. And to me, that's the best part. It's like, okay, we did something great.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
All right, so you can look forward to the DVD coming out on November 2nd, Holding On to Jah. You can stream it, you can get the DVD. Harrison, thank you so much for sharing all these nice stories of the movie.
Happy 30 years to SummerJam, you know, it's good to be here.
Yes, I would leave you with your greetings for the anniversary.
For that, yeah, wow, 30 years. Hoping for many, many, many more years of love, music celebration. This is Groundation. Hoping everybody in Germany and around the world is staying positive, strong, healthy. Much love to everybody and their family. Bless.
Mad, sick, Reggaeville.